Hello, friends, and welcome to Zero Gravity Gaming. We are here in the Iron, Bronze, and Silver League with a game between Galactic Warriors and Monkeys in Training. I'm Nyarko here in the booth with Fritz. How are you doing today? I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, we're looking at a pretty high standard game in terms of the IBS, just because these are two teams that are currently sitting at 3-1, looking to push their way forward and stay in the top tier of contenders. Monkeys in Training standing a little bit above Galactic Warriors just in terms of round differential, but both teams definitely have the chance to make a big impact here tonight. Yeah, and both teams have some pretty interesting ways to kind of come out to victory. In particular, we've been seeing some really cool strategies come through from both sides. I'm really liking what Thanatos has been bringing to the table there in that bot lane, especially for the side of the of Monkeys in Training. But what do you think the matchup we should look forward to the most is here between these two teams? Yeah, and we're going to get a starting ban of an Ari there from the side of Monkeys in Training. This is a pretty strong mid laner that we've been seeing all over 12 patch 12.4 and 12.5. Even with the little nerfs that she's been taking, a lot of people are still busting out this pick and doing a lot of damage there in the mid lane. But I definitely agree with you, Fritz. From here on out, hopefully these next few bans will be expended on some of these big AD carries, especially given the focus that this role has been given in recent patches. The metagame very much has been revolving around these duos. Yeah, ban's going to come through for them in the second pick with the Yone. No, yeah, no updates really. Yeah, so the E sub. Mhm. Yeah, so that's going to explain that little mystery for us. But yeah, still no focus there on the bot lane. Maybe both teams kind of seeing those players as the carries are looking to make sure that they don't constrict the pool in any way. The Zyra going to be knocked out. Monkeys in Training looking to push back against Stargazer there as the support who oftentimes goes for these kinds of poke or high damage AP champions. Notably, also, this is not someone who likes to take flash very much. Anything about that, Fritz? All right. All right. While Fritz departs us for just a little bit, we are going to just jump right here into the picks. Luck's going to come out first. Monkeys in Training able to flex that into several different slots here. Most of the time, we see it paired up with something like a Caitlyn there in the bot lane, where you get that really fantastic CC death combo going. In turn, Galactic Warriors, with a selection on their hands, may look to just kind of steal away that champion. Remember, no ADCs banned in this early phase means that shoring up a bot lane here is just going to be very valuable because you're basically able to pick whatever you want. And in fact, they're going to go for that Varus. This is a champion that has been contested, yes, but also a little bit uncertain in terms of their placement in the meta. Oftentimes, we've been seeing Varus struggle into some of the more dominant matchups in lane, but One of the things that kind of shows as a shining spot for the side of the Galactic Warriors grabbing this is that we've been seeing AP Varus actually pop off and do a lot of work here. And going for one of these flexible damage type champions here in the bot lane alongside this Leona will just kind of give the freedom for the Galactic Warriors to maybe look for an AD mid, something that may be a little bit more assassin oriented in order to shore up against this double squishy lane that Monkeys in Training is working for here as we see the Caitlyn get hovered. It will in fact get locked in. This is going to be a tough one for Galactic Warriors, at least early on. Leona obviously does not really have the range to get in on champions that just can pump out so much damage. Lux combo into Caitlyn combo just going to be very troublesome to deal with here. And Xin Zhao is going to round out what is a very strong opening volley from the sides of Monkeys in Training. We'll see if Galactic Warriors responds with a jungler of their own here. And it sure looks like it. That is Diana locked in. Obviously, this is another flex champion here. Can go into the jungle, can go into the mid lane, but her strength really has been showing out in that role in the jungle right there. You just have great gank opportunities, especially post level 6, fantastic engage potential, and when paralleled with that Leona, the CC and damage that Galactic Warriors can bring out with this pick can be super valuable.
Yeah, I'm really liking B123 here through Monkeys in Training. This draft is looking insanely good for them.
Yeah, a lot of meta picks grabbed here alongside a big combo that I was really hoping Galactic Warriors would look to disrupt here. But if they're going to keep that ADC pool open and just hop on a big comfort pick champion for them, perhaps they'll be able to kind of shore up and push back against the strength that Monkeys in Training has just drafted out for themselves.
The Vayne ban is interesting. I'm expecting probably a tank top here from them. Um, Other than that, I just think Monkeys in Training is hard winning draft here. Varus has not been strong for quite a while. Um, AP Varus, like you said, does have the ability to put in some major work against these tanks that they're looking to draft here. Um, but they double pick AP Diana as well. So I don't know. What do you think saves Galactic Warriors here in this draft?
I think that you need to really have people that can follow up on the engage that is possible given Leona and Diana's pedigree. The Nico may be a good start to that, going to be grabbed and put into the mid lane there for the Galactic Warriors. This is a champion that has the ability to rocket belt forward while activating their ultimate and just put a whole lot of hurt down on the enemy team, especially if they're going to go for a Varus build that will allow for them to sit in the backline here. This could be their ticket to just dictating the pace of team fights. But Monkeys in Training going deep on this early game power, going to grab a Pantheon for themselves, another champion with a lot of flex potential. Could be seeing it mid, could be seeing in top. Perhaps even we'll get Lux mid and Pantheon support. You never really know.
Yeah, and it's Monkeys in Training support. Uh, from what I've seen, does have the ability to kind of carry this lane, get his ADC Thanatos really far ahead. And I would really be looking for him on the Lux here because Lux Caitlyn is such a strong bot lane. At least it has been for a while. And I would really be looking at Pantheon mid. Pantheon mid is a very underrated pick. Something I personally hate playing against. I think Pantheon is just a stupid, stupid champion. So, I mean, that's my opinion on it. I think if the Pantheon goes anywhere else but top lane here, or mid lane here, it's going to be Troll. And
Yeah,
then,
especially with that Malphite grabbed
yeah.
there at the end. I think it basically solidifies the Pantheon mid choice for Monkeys in Training. I will say that picking it into the Nico may not be the best snowball matchup for the champion. This is issue in which Pantheon is looking to approach Nico, but will get zoned out. And unfortunately, unto a lot of other caster champions, you're able to kind of utilize your minion wave and get a push going in order to dodge the CC or attacks coming your direction. But Nico's E goes through minions, and that means that Pantheon's just going to have to be really judicious in how they decide to approach and engage upon this chameleon in the mid lane. Mordekaiser are going to be the pickup for Galactic Warriors, put their top side of the map. A lot of AP threats means that I think we're going to be getting a little bit more traditional of a Varus build, but in turn, we could just be seeing them really heavily go for casters and just try to push through the damage, tear down the Malphite early, and force some awkward build paths out of the Pantheon and Xin Zhao.
Yeah, and something I maybe could be looking at here is Pantheon top into the Mordekaiser. I think that's a far better matchup, at least for the Pantheon. Mordekaiser into Malphite. Malphite is fine pre 6, I think, but once you hit level 6, Mordekaiser's going to make sure he can't R out. And I think it's just going to be a really, really rough time for the Malphite.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, but I do think that Malphite also is going to have a really rough time there in the mid lane against Nico. Massively zoned out, not going to be tanky enough early on in order to really just kind of sit there and face through all of that damage. Maybe you could see something really crazy like a swap of a Pantheon to top lane. Lux goes mid into the Nico and have that, and you'll have that range advantage, and then put Malphite into the support role here. Not necessarily the worst choice, but I really would like to see Monkeys in Training
I
trying to maintain their stability with the Caitlyn Lux bot.
I think Caitlyn Luxbot is just far too strong to
Yeah.
even consider that. And especially when the entire idea of this team is to get Thanatos ahead, because he's proven that he is such a strong carry. I think your focus really should just be towards getting that Xin Zhao bot lane, getting Lux Caitlyn ahead, and propelling yourself to a win with Thanatos on 4 items.
Yeah, Monkeys in Training really setting themselves up for success here, even maybe with a little bit shaky of a last pick there with a Malphite. It's going to have trouble in a lot of these different lanes, but honestly, as long as you farm up well enough and you get to a point of tankiness where you're able to kind of ult into a crowd with no holds barred, Crothio should be all right on this champion, and it will be confirmed there for the top lane. So cascading down, this basically solidifies the picks we see for the blue side here. 2077 red has Ligma also grabbing that Mordekaiser, definitely going top here. No weird shenanigans with Infinite 12 maybe grabbing the champion and bringing it into the jungle here. Jungle Diana in turn. This is looking pretty darn standard.
Yeah, and I really think that in this situation, unless you can somehow propel this Mordekaiser into a super commanding spot I would say pre 15 to 20 minutes, I think Monkeys in Training just wins draft.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was something that I was commenting on, Fritz, while you were kind of working through the technical troubles, but I just don't understand why, after you get that Lux shown as first pick from Monkeys in Training, you don't immediately try to snipe away the Caitlyn as Galactic Warriors here. I feel that that kind of set the tone for the whole draft and just put Monkeys in Training in just such a commanding position.
Yeah, and especially when you know that this team is looking to propel their ADC, I think that just comes down to a draft blunder. And then also they had some other really strong mid lane picks. When you go for that Diana, immediately Yasuo comes to mind, and it wasn't banned. It does look like their mid laner Sintra, I would call that, probably got targeted really hard in ban phase. I just don't like the Diana here personally in this draft, especially when you're picking Mordekaiser Nico. I think if Pantheon or Malphite builds AP resist here, they're just unkillable very, very early in the game.
I do like that initial selection of Diana to synergize with Varus Leona, but I agree that you could have seen a little bit more synergy come out of the top and mid lane choices for Galactic Warriors. This is not to say that they don't have win conditions, though. As we said before, the area of effect abilities that you see coming through for Nico, Diana, and Leona can really help to lock down a lot of these squishy champions on the side of Monkeys in Training. And if we see them begin to really scale up, you'll have Mordekaiser sniping away a carry with their ultimate, and you're left with relatively weak late game champs like the Xin Zhao and Pantheon to try to fend for the Lux or the Caitlyn there. So overall, they have a way forward, but this will be a rough early game for them, no doubts about that.
Yeah, really important key is going to be coming into this game is getting the Xin Zhao around the map as fast as possible, using the fact that Diana pre-6 is not that great, and unlocking this really strong mid-jungle 2v2 to ideally get Caitlyn ahead and get Caitlyn some kills and gold, and propel Thanatos into being able to just 1v9 this game. Keys for Galactic Warriors are going to be playing for your late game scaling, playing for the fact that Pantheon and Zhao past 25 minutes aren't champions, and playing for this huge wombo combo Varus R, Nico R, Diana R. Um, Ideally, in a perfect world, that shouldn't get to that point because Monkeys and Training's draft is just so good, but it really does come down to personal skill. As you see us getting into the spectator delay, we are going to throw it to an intermission. We will see you guys once we get into the game. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Zero Gravity Gaming here in the Iron, Bronze, and Silver League. We are here in Game 1 between Monkeys in Training on the blue side and Galactic Warriors on the red side already. Big grouping up from the side of Galactic Warriors here around the bot side. What are you looking to see early on, Fritz?
I'm really looking to see this Zhao get ahead and basically abuse his tempo advantage over this Diana. As we see the invade going to be stopped here by this Lux. Really good 5-point from Monkeys in Training. I'm really looking for abusing this bot lane, abusing the good matchup for the Caitlyn Lux, and abusing the early tempo jungler.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I would like to see the side of Monkeys in Training really push this early game draft advantage that they've given themselves and try to get ahead early. Honestly, I was expecting them to be the ones to invade. You have a lot of potential with that Pantheon W right there alongside the Lux lockdown, but they opt for that 5 points. Also to note, Stargazer classically on that Exhaust Ignite Leona rather than going for Flash here. It's going to be interesting to see how that dictates the pace of the lane.
Yeah, you should really be looking to abuse a flashless support, especially on a hook champion. It really neuters a lot of the ability for you to make plays on the Leona.
Oh yeah, for certain. And as we see everyone kind of move to their lanes, it's good to note that we do get an opposite side start from these junglers here. That means that we won't really be seeing Xin Zhao meet up with the Diana at any point in this early clear unless something really crazy happens. And that's kind of unfortunate if you're me on Xin Zhao here, because you really want to go for those early game brawls as you're talking about and try to get a double contest of the scuttle. Engage here in the mid lane. Zind is just going to flash out, but is going to get W'd, and First Blood picked up by Egyptian there for Monkeys in Training. Really solid execution there for that roam with me. And now topside, Red just getting a ton of damage down onto Crown, who's going to have to run all the way back towards tower here. Lockdown bot side of the map, Ignite already coming out, and Stargazer. That is why you need to take Flash, buddy.
As expected.
Yeah, really, really good plays coming out from Monkeys in Training here. As basically everything I said, abusing the early tempo jungler, abusing the good matchup in the bot lane. This is everything they need to do to win this game.
Yeah, and this priority over the bot and mid of the map is going to allow for Pantheon to get a quick early back here and try to continue to push that advantage. Egyptian going to come back with a little bit of an advantage with that lethality built. Meanwhile, bot side, this wave is beginning to crash, and we see Sign was taking the Thanatos begin to peel out.
Small gold advantage already for Monkeys in Training, up 2-0. First Drake going to be up in a minute 30.
A lot of pings here on the bottom side of the map. It looks like Infinite 12 is trying to get a bit of revenge down here, but they will be spotted out on a ward. Xin Zhao, seeing that happen, is going to look for another kill in the mid lane, it appears. Going to wrap around here. Sind in a lot of trouble, does not have flash. That is going to whiff, and we see the W come out, but they're chasing after the right one. Another kill picked up for the side of Monkeys in Training as Infinite 12 is forced to flash away, that Ignite being dropped by the Pantheon. Meanwhile, bot side of the map, the lockdown will continue. This is a disastrous early game for Galaxy as we see Infinite 12 also be taken out, that flash being burnt by me to seal the deal right there. Those turrets are not enough to save the Diana.
And this is pretty much exactly what we expected to happen from this draft. I'm really proud of how well they are playing this. Abusing the flashless Nico in the mid lane. Me, 20... Yeah. Really playing very well here, and this is what they need to do to at least push this lead and snowball into a W.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, especially for the fact that you have to wait so long to really scale up on the red team to see how they're going to be able to come back into this one. For the time being, they're just going to have to play safe and find advantages where they can. We see Egyptian with a big roam up here to the top side of the map that has not used their W, will drop it right there. They'll get a lot of damage down on the Mordekaiser. That will be the flash expended to prevent that Pantheon Q from sealing the deal, as we see Leona lockdown once more. There's the E riding it in. Zenith Blade trying to help get some lockdown. Possibly Lemon a little bit too far back. Finally able to come forward here. And Stargazer once again flashless, having to just try to walk away from this one as the Q comes from over the wall. Possibly Lemon in a little bit of trouble here. Another Zenith Blade going to be rode back in now. But I think that this will be more kills picked up for the side of Monkeys in Training. Wow. This lockdown, this fact that they're able to read these fights and continually engage, really showing the potential that this team has.
That was a clown fiesta. Really, it almost looks like there wasn't communication between Stargazer and possibly Lemon. Stargazer engages from halfway across the lane with no follow-up from his ADC until he'd already lost 3/4 of his health, and then the re-engage on 2 separate times. It just really cost him that fight.
And we see the bot side of the map begin to fold through into that dragon, picking up a first neutral objective over to the side of Monkeys in Training. That gold lead now really becoming a big issue. About 3K so early on is something you do not want to see if you're a Galactic Warriors fan.
Not at all. Like I said, this main win condition for Galactic Warriors here is getting this Mordekaiser ahead, and he has just not been able to do anything. Perma alone in his lane is, we see a gank coming in from the Pantheon.
Yeah, ultimate being dropped immediately by Red will be able to pick up the kill against Crotheo, but Egyptian coming up here to maybe put a stop to the Mordekaiser, but that is an unfortunate attempt at a gank. Meanwhile, bot side of the map, though, looks like the blue team's trying to get a little bit more revenge going, as we see possibly Lemon, the first one to fall. That will be tower shots going down onto the Xin Zhao to make this a 2-for-1 in the bot side. But the amount of gold going over to Thanatos cannot be understated here. This is a 4-0-2 Caitlyn at 7 minutes.
Really huge play coming out from Thanatos. We knew this coming into this game that Thanatos was going to be the key here, where the Xin Zhao wanted to focus, and they played it very well. We cannot count out the Mordekaiser yet. 2, or at least 1 very decent sized shutdown for him in the top lane.
Infinite 12, a little bit too deep here, going to get engaged on as the Blinding Assault comes through, and that sandwich Crotheo dropping 1Q and sealing the deal against the Diana means that that's another death on the side of Galactic Warriors. Crotheo riding the Blast Plant over to prevent Xin Zhao from getting engaged on more right there as well, as they'll kind of just walk with each other back to this top lane.
Yeah, and you can kind of see where getting that Mordekaiser some kills, he is able to do a lot in these small little skirmishes.
W! Egyptian just doing so much in this lane, so much priority, and we'll see where he's going to use this kill against the Nico to roam.
Pantheon is just such a good champion.
Such a fair and fun champion. I love
balanced.
playing against Pantheon early.
I'm feeling the pain of Syndra here. Sinshira. However your name is pronounced, I feel your pain.
Yeah, that 0-3 mid lane start is not what you want here. Although you will outscale the Pantheon, the question is he just getting too much gold early for you to really come back into this one? Gonna have to be some dire measures put forth by the side of the Galactic Warriors if they want to pick up this game.
Yeah, and
W forward, Egyptian looking for yet another one, but Sinshira Wing to get back to their lane. They're going to actually walk towards Infinite 12 here. Egyptian maybe a little bit caught out. The flash over the wall into ultimate. They're looking to trade one back. Ignite also going to be utilized, and we see double ultimates come out to take down this Pantheon. Finally, a little bit of gold going over to the red team here. One picked up for Infinite 12 as we see me grab the Rift Herald.
Really, really big first Rift Herald coming out. I would be looking to take that bot lane. You can see as Diana hits 6, she is able to get that kill, abusing the level advantage over this Xin Zhao, who is getting very heavily out-farmed, which could come back to bite him later in the game.
I do like Mii's big dedication towards pushing for ganks here, but yeah, you definitely need a little bit of gold income yourself in order to be a continued presence in fights, especially as they're looking to stack objectives on the side of Monkeys in Training here. We are about a minute and a half before the next dragon comes through, and it'd be fantastic if you could get a little bit more in terms of items built onto the Xin Zhao in order for a potential scrap to occur.
Talking about that, first items.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. First, we'll get right back to you. We see the E come through from Sinshira, who's coming down for a big gang. Infinite 12 jumping in. Thanatos going to use their heal, and now Mii has rotated back through alongside Egyptian. This is the turn that you were looking for. More gold over to the Xin Zhao, but especially the Pantheon. A double kill being picked up by that mid laner on the side of Monkeys in Training. The pings coming out. They're going to look to take some more domination over this river and in turn translate this into Dragon number 2.
Absolutely extremely well played from Monkeys in Training. We see the Pantheon R coming out from the mid lane.
Stargazer, I don't know what you're doing here, buddy. Riding the Zenith Blade in, but getting poked for their efforts. There comes the flash forward, and Thanatos going to go unstoppable.
Using both summoner spells there. Pretty much all of Galactic Warriors, save Mordekaiser, who was not there, using all of their summoners. As we see Mii forcing another game.
Possibly Lemon.
It is
wow.
It is an absolute disaster for Galactic Warriors here. Me playing this early game so well, along with the Thanatos and Egyptian. They have all just played this game so well to this point, getting themselves around an 8K gold lead.
Yeah, I think it's maybe one of those games that's labeled as unwinnable for the side of Galactic Warriors. They are going to continue to push here, though. There are no FFs in Zero Gravity Gaming.
Yeah, I would be looking to break that rule here. This draft, this game was over before it started.
Yeah, Crow Theo going to catch out Infinite 12 in the jungle. Mordekaiser using this time to push this way topside and maybe looking to come back. Oh, that will be a deactivated X-Skate as Infinite 12 is going to finally drop that ultimate. A lot of people in the area, and Red is going to save their jungler with a dropping of their own Death Realm here. Theo just waiting for that to end, and he's gonna ultimate himself back towards the tower. But look at how long this took. Me and Sign was taken now into the area alongside Thanatos, who's dropping the hurt down onto Red has Ligma. That will be an ex-Mordekaiser on the top side of the map. Hopefully give a little bit of breathing space to Crotheo.
Yeah, and we see first items coming out for the bottom half of the map for Monkeys in Training, and this game is just looking so dire. Is there anything you think Galactic Warriors can do to get themselves back into this game?
I really think that you need to just hold out to the 20-minute mark and try to bait a fight around Baron. If you see the blue side go for a Baron start up and they get debuffed by the armor shred that big purple worm can provide, you may have a chance to even out the playing field and go for a fight. Crotheo maybe a little bit too far forward here, but Egyptian is going to come into the area as we see Solar Flare come down, but Varus is going to fall for a 6th time. 18-4 is the kill score. Things are not looking better.
No,
wow, the amount of
really
damage coming through from Lux. She will be pulled back under towers. The Silent was taken, getting chipped out here by the Mordekaiser, and the bonk will come through. But that power already at Luden's Echo before Sign was taken. Really dire situation, as you just said.
Yeah, and I
also,
really
meanwhile, the action's just not ending. Sorry about that,
No,
Fritz.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I really like rotating the bot lane around to just collect plates all over the map. But this game really just is a bloodbath.
Yeah. This may not be the best color casting experience to start off with. You barely have any time to talk. It's just fight after fight after fight.
Yeah, and I completely, I'm just having so much fun watching this. It's really crazy that basically everything we said pregame is happening.
Yeah, this is a really rough situation to be sure for Galactic Warriors. Thanatos is alone here on the top side of the map, and we see Infinite 12 rotating over. A juicy 700 gold shutdown for that Caitlyn may mean that we see a pretty big collapse, although it is important to note that me and Egyptian are also moving up to this top side. We are about to get a second Rift Herald spawned up here in 42 seconds, so this could be what the rotation is for. But also, look at how heavily contested this mid lane tower already is. Crotheo are just going to walk forward and bonk it a few times. Sin not really able to do a whole lot as we see the rotation across. Me jumping forward with that blinding assault, but is not able to grab on to that Nico and pick up yet another kill for the side of Monkeys in Training.
And I am really enjoying the macro from Monkeys in Training here. After watching a Leona split push bot for I don't even know how long, it is really nice to see the macro calls coming out from Monkeys in Training here.
Yeah, Egyptian is going to come over here, try to take this blue buff. Infinite 12 jumping forward, though, but this is a level 10 Pantheon with a mean streak. Varus in the area, but he's not doing a whole lot as we see the Pantheon start to continue to rotate out, and he will pick up the kill in the 2v1. Possibly Lemon just not able to get the lockdown going forward, and we begin to see the impact that this gold difference is having in this game. Death Realm coming out here. We'll see if Pantheon's able to move out of this one alive. He is mobbed on all sides, though. I think he will eventually fall. That E blocking a lot of damage, but finally a shutdown and a bit of gold over to possible. top side of the map, Rift Herald is being dropped by me and Thanatos, and they're going to be able to grab a charge here as Sign was taken, rotates into the area as well. Mordekaiser is walking up, maybe looking for a pincer, but these are three of the most powerful people right now on the side of Monkeys in Training, so this may be a tough fight for either team. Red sitting in a bush right here, not spotted out quite yet, but I think that after getting what they came for, grabbing that tier 2 top side and getting yet another charge off of that Rift Herald, we're going to finally see the movement away for Monkeys in Training.
And it is important to note, Zinzao is on the base. They could maybe try and contest this Drake as it comes up right now, but they do not move in time. I would really say just turtling here is their best strategy. As you can see, first items coming out across the board. You really want your Varus on 2 to 3 items before you can fight, and they're just put so far behind from that benchmark that you cannot do anything at this point.
Yeah, we will see a third dragon now. Soul Point over to the side of Monkeys in Training here, and I think that my call from earlier, Fritz, may be the best chance that the red team has in coming back into this. Galactic Warriors need to find a way to force this team to throw. Remember, this is Iron, Bronze, Silver. These players, as much as they have been training, still standing in those elos, need to learn some of these macro fundamentals, and while we have been seeing magnificent rotations, this could all be for nothing if, at the end of the day, Monkeys in Training decide to be a little bit too aggressive around some of these big play-making objectives later on.
And it is really important to keep in mind that they do have objective bounties, and they do have this insanely high shutdown on this Caitlyn. You could look to just force some play, force some way to catch this Caitlyn out, get that shutdown onto a carry, and look to abuse that lead given from that shutdown. I would ideally like to see it on this Mordekaiser here, since I feel like he's the only person ahead enough to do something.
Yeah, that is true, although I really do like the fact that we are seeing Monkeys in Training move to the extent to which they are. I think that this protect the puppy kind of playstyle, where you're keeping Thanatos in the back line, just makes it really difficult for a collapse like that to work.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. I think 4-1-ing here is really important. I would be wanting to put this Malphite in the bot side, take this bot side tier 2.
Yeah, he's just kind of walking with the team, though, and to be fair, this is a pretty big mob coming through as we see the fight. Solar Flare going to meet that. Thanatos is immediately jumped on, but the damage, Me22 being put into that death roll, finally going to get knocked out. That ultimate not going to work out for the Diana, though, as Sign was taking the Thanatos are able to make it out alive. Egyptian working as the front line now, and getting a lot of damage down with the Red has Ligma. That will be a double kill picked up. 4 Sign was taken, a triple kill, in fact, and now Nico, the sole surviving member of Galactic Warriors, here to try to defend this inhibitor turret.
I think the real MVP of that fight there is the Pantheon. He peeled multiple people off of his Caitlyn mid-fight, played it so well. And we see the 4-for-1 coming out for MIT.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, that's a really difficult situation now because you have that exposed inhibitor. Any kind of movement into the mid lane from the side of Monkeys in Training means that you're going to have to bring people to the area. And with a Baron up in just under a minute here, this could be a really early grab for the side of Monkeys in Training.
I would say a 20-minute Baron and end this game, get out as soon as possible. As you see second items starting to come out on the Caitlyn and the Pantheon, this is just such a tough game for Galactic, and I really think that going game 2 here is just probably what's best for everyone's mentals.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about conserving your energy and just trying to bring it back in game 2 here. Big clustering, though, around the Baron. I think that this is going to be the point at which we finally see a huge contestation come through. A grab and bonk drop down onto me. He'll be hurt a little bit right there, but this Varus is just so far behind right now. I just don't really see a big source of damage besides that top laner for Galactic Warriors. That being said, Egyptian jumping forward and getting ulted here, defending as much as possibly can, as a huge eco will be dropped through here. Caitlyn not going to be able to make it out and is trying to rotate around the far side, but a double kill picked up from Prodeo is going to continue to allow for this to go in favor of Monkeys in Training. I don't understand how they're able to, even with this bad positioning, just pull through and get kills here. I think that snowball early was just too much to contend with.
That Zen are something really, really big to notice there. Thanatos did get taken out on the back line. Really, really good stun from the Nico into the R. It brought Diana on the flank right to the ADC, who was already almost dead. But you can see the Malphite just putting in work.
Yeah, and we see them take down this Baron. Unfortunately, that will be Egyptian falling and getting executed to it, which means that they will not have the buff here. But given the fact that this team has such a penchant for just hard pushing to begin with, I don't really think that that is a shift that will really matter a whole lot for the side of Monkeys in Training.
Yeah, honestly, they should just be looking to 4-1 end this game down mid. Having one person split push, I would say opposite of the Mord, is just really good. As you see Soul coming up here, Soul, this is the highest win rate Soul in the game currently, so this is going to be a very important point of contest for MIT to end this game.
I would say that they couldn't let the Baron fall, but the Baron fell, but now they truly cannot let this Soul go through for the side of Monkeys in Training. This will be a really big fight to happen for sure.
Oh my god, they did it. Oh my god, they did it. Huge fight coming out from Galactic Warriors. Gonna get the shutdowns to come through. So good for them as they pull out the Soul. I cannot even comprehend what just happened for the side of Galactic Warriors. It is so well played. The Nico ult, the Diana on the flank. So very good for them. Huge shutdown. And the Dragon are going to come through, getting slowly, if they can keep that happening, crawling themselves back into this game. I don't even understand how that happened. We had no vision letting the Diana flank. Very, very big. No, Arcs, we don't have a replay set up. We can try. Very big coming through. We see the gold lead shrink to only about 8k. This is very, very losable for Monkeys in Training if we continue to let our ADC get caught out. Because Xin Zhao in the Pantheon and Pantheon have 2 minutes until they are no longer champions. As we see, objective's just going to be taking all the Monkeys in Training, losing Baron here, so we are probably just going to AFK until the next Baron and Drake come up. Unless we look into forcing a fight, which if you're Monkeys in Training, that is ideally what you want to do here. As we see Krathio flash ult into the flash. Egyptian going to jump onto the Diana. The Diana's already taken out of the fight. Going to get Caitlyn hard. Verisar going to come through, going to miss. Xin Zhao jumping into the fight. Leona's going to be CC'd. Xin Zhao jumping onto the possibly Lemon. Red has Ligma back in the fight. Going to be taking no one to Brazil, it looks like. As you see, double kill going to come out for Thanatos. Looking to end the game here. Onto the mid inhib. We did not throw this fight. That's going to be very good for them. I don't know where Mordekaiser R was used, but I do not think it was used correctly. As we see, they're going to take down Red has Ligma, pad the KDAs. This is going to turn into a W for Monkeys in Training. Very, very good game coming out from them. As we were having some technical difficulties with my other color caster, Nyarko. I'm sorry about that. I did not see your messages, buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. I do think that I managed to, encapsulate the essence of that game, which was it was a pretty large role for the side of Monkeys in Training. Galactic Warriors, I believe, put up a pretty darn good fight there around that fourth dragon, but it was all for naught at the end of the day, unfortunately. I think that going forward into game two, I think what we'll be probably seeing out of Galactic Warriors is just a little bit more focus on the draft phase to knock away some of the early game power that Monkeys in Training really demonstrated this time around. And hopefully they'll just maintain a sense of evenness up through to a point where their champions will be able to scale up and they'll be able to contest just a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so. And we saw some of the team fight ability from Galactic coming out near the end of that game. They were nearly able to bring it back. I think if they just played one more, two more fights as well as they did the Dragon fight, it would have been GG easy for Galactic Warriors. I think we just need to not lose the game in the first 10 minutes, and I think they can do fine in games 2 and 3. As for that, we are going to throw it to an intermission until we get into the draft for next game. We ask y'all to stick around and enjoy games 2 and 3, maybe game 3, and we'll see you then.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Game 2 between Monkeys in Training and Galactic Warriors here in Zero Gravity Gaming's Iron, Bronze, and Silver League. How are you doing, Fritz? That was a pretty wild first game we just witnessed.
Yeah, really insane. I think it almost turned into a disaster for MIT. Near the end, we saw some really good team fighting coming out from Galactic Warriors. Like I said, is they didn't lose that game in the first 10 minutes. I think they were going to be able to bring that back.
Yeah, just incredible rotations and plays coming through super early on for Monkeys in Training. And what that translated into was a gold lead that just would not quit, that Galactic Warriors could not contend with. So the question is now, how will this draft get mixed up? Will we see Galactic Warriors still go for a little bit more of a scaling composition versus Monkeys in Training and just hope to play the early game a little bit more safely? Or are they going to try to match MIT at their own game here? Maybe pick up some of these champions like the Caitlyn Lux bot for themselves.
I think the Caitlyn Lux bot was really strong. I would be looking to keep them off of that, especially with how well it was played on the Caitlyn. Um, and I really would be looking to probably stay a lot with some of the team fighting because you know you can team fight really well, but I would be looking to do more on mid game comp this time. Hopefully with a little bit more synergy. I don't think that comp works together very well at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Galactic Warriors and MIT still just kind of jostling around in the lobby, and we will be getting the draft here very, very soon. But for the time being, we are able to kind of freely speculate onto an open board. One of the things that I would really hope early on is that we see the ban of the Caitlyn or the Lux come through in B1 for Galactic Warriors, just given the fact that their choice of opting into a comfort pick of a very Varus early on for possibly Lemon just was not panning out super well.
Yeah, and I really think that keeping possibly Lemon on a more carry oriented champion than the Varus, who's someone an ADC that has not been strong for quite a while. I'd be looking towards something like this Jinx, the Zeri, the Caitlyn, even something like the Ezreal, something that has that carry potential. That's what you want your carry on, not on the utility ADCs.
Yeah, most definitely. And at the same time, I'd also like to see a little bit of a shift in how they prioritize their mid picks. It's probably going to come through in the second set of choices again, but this time around, I would like to see a little bit more credence paid, especially to their synergy with the jungler. Obviously, there is some ability for Nico to follow up on Diana engages, but at the same time, I really think that given the fact we see MIC go for such bullying matchups with that Pantheon going into the mid lane in game one, you just weren't really able to shore up or counter gank into that lane as a Diana, especially before you'd farm up and get to a few items.
Yeah, and that's really important to get. Give me 1 second, actually. We're experiencing some technical difficulties with this draft.
It is never smooth sailing here, unfortunately. We will get everything sorted out in just a moment for all of you watching. My apologies for how that went down. We will see whether or not the draft has already been locked in for either side. Links coming through now, and it looks like we are in the midst of the picks right now. Are you seeing this, Fritz?
Uh, I'm seeing the spectator that they're sending through. There is, for some reason, not using. I don't know. Just give me 1 second. I'm upset.
All right. Well, if it is the case that what we are seeing right now is in fact the legitimate draft picks, there are some interesting choices already coming through. Monkeys in Training, grabbing that Pantheon once again and pairing it with a Swain, most likely going to go there. As the support in the bottom lane, this is another champion that, very similar to the Lux, has great lockdown potential. We see the Lux actually get banned out by Galactic Warriors this time around, as we were kind of thinking of, but honestly, this pickup of the Swain could reflect yet another grab at that Caitlyn there as the third choice for Monkeys in Training. Galactic Warriors, meanwhile, seem to have a little bit of a gap in their selection here. No pick 2 coming through. Let me check to see whether or not there is a confirmation of a choice there.
No, there was some problems getting into which draft flow we were using. problems coming through with the teams using the wrong links. We are actually getting into the draft. However, now seeing the Hecarim and the Syndra first banned.
Yeah,
Uh,
and yeah, it looks like we're getting pretty similar bans through. I think it's probably going to be the Hecarim Yone Lux combo knocked out of the field by the Galactic Warriors, as we saw through last time. Ari Syndra, the ones removed from the pool for Monkeys in Training.
yeah, and I'm really liking the Hecarim ban. A lot of people not realizing how powerful Hecarim is right now.
Yeah, it's a champion that has the ability to just tank up so much damage while trading in a lot of their own. This combined with their approach attempts just make it an incredibly solid pickup throughout the draft right now. Galactic Warriors knocking it out early is something we saw in game one as well. And I like the fact that they stuck to their guns on that while altering to make sure that they take the Lux out of the pool. Zyra, once again, going to be taken away from Stargazer there in the support role.
Right, and I really do like taking out some of these poke champions. From Stargazers, you can see that's really is what he's comfortable on. First pick Viego coming out. I really don't know how I feel about that. Putting your jungler on something big is really good, but there's so many ways to stop that. Uh, and then we see the really strong early rotation for Monkeys in Training coming out with the Xin Zhao Pantheon.
Yeah, Xin a really, really strong early jungler that went perfectly into the game plan that the side of Monkeys in Training were attempting to enact game one. Me 22, not really farming much at all, frankly. It was all pretty darn incidental. They just constantly ran from lane to lane and for the most part managed to secure the kills every single time that they decided to enter into one of them. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Galactic Warriors plays a little bit more safe now that they've let two of these super dominant early game threats through once again here. Blue pick, not really hovering anything right now. Not really
Yeah, it
sure
seems like
what
we're
this is about.
experiencing some problems with the team. Really quick, while we are trying to get that figured out, I am going to throw us to an intermission as we seem to be having some problems with the draft. Until then, we will get that figured out and we will come right back to you guys with the draft.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. This is still game two between Galactic Warriors and Monkeys in Training. Once again, a little bit of technical difficulties have sidelined us, but we are back and replaying through this draft. We're probably going to be seeing the same early picks. That confusion over the Swain that I was kind of commentating about will come through in the fact that Monkeys in Training can either pick the Swain or decide to keep it sidelined here. So with that in mind, we will be seeing Viego, Xin Zhao, and Pantheon as the three picks that actually go through first.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that the B1 Viego is extremely weird. There is a lot of things to prevent Viego. My personal favorite being the Zillion mid or the Kindred. We could see the MIT not going either of those ways as they repick their really strong early game picks of Pantheon and Xin Zhao from game two or game one. Uh, what do you think Galactic Warriors can do here to kind of put themselves in a better spot to combat this?
I think that one of the first things that they could do here is shake up that bot lane just by grabbing an ADC besides Varus. I would love to see them grab Caitlyn for themselves, or perhaps even go over for something like a Jinx or a Phelios. Seraphine going to be locked in, though. It looks like they're going to shore up their ADC pick for the last one in this first round. I like Seraphine. It is a good flex choice here, most likely going to be going into that support role, though. It is a champion that, like, especially with the 12.5 buffs, has really flourished in these duo lane settings and has become a bit more of a presence than what we've seen before. With those encores, you're really just able to define the pace of fights, and when paired up with something like that Samira right there, you can have some really aggressive plays once level 6 is reached.
Yeah, and I really like having the more aggressive bot lane. Um, Puts them in a better spot. I think they need to be able to combat this bot lane 2v2 to be able to have any chance at winning this game. Like we saw, the bot lane being very, very important for MIT game one.
And we see the Soraka picked up by Monkeys in Training here, going to probably go into that support role, although, we have seen mid Soraka before, especially with people like LS there influencing how the LCS has been playing out. It's an interesting pick, definitely something that is a little bit more scaling oriented and not really looking for kills in lane, which is a big change in trends from what we've been seeing from MIT throughout, not only last game, but also this draft. Maybe it's the case that they'll go for something that's very much a hard scaling bot laner, and in turn, they're going to look for priority through jungle and mid lane to dictate the pace of the game early on.
And I really like the ban looking to come out from Galactic Warriors here, banning the Jinx, and they were even hovering the Caitlyn. Banning these really, really big 1v9 ADCs is going to be very important, keeping Thanatos off of those picks.
Yeah, and we see MIT banning the same champions that they did last game as well, the Alawi and Vayne taken away. I'm not sure how I feel about these choices. Alawi is a champion that has never really flourished in a competitive environment. It benefits from 1v1s, but oftentimes if she's rotated on, especially before she's able to get going, she just simply kind of falls apart because her real big threat is going to be in her E early on. You can only E 1% at a time, Ophelio is going to be the picked up from the side of Monkeys in Training here. We saw a little bit of a pinch of that ADC spot with the Jinx ban from Galactic Warriors, but I'm happy to see this pickup.
And I really don't know how I feel about it. I don't think this is the best spot for Aphelios, playing him in a semi-dive comp. We have a Xin Zhao Pantheon. Turning more into a pick style comp it's going to look like, especially when you have Seraphine Blitzcrank, their team is obviously going to want to sit back, and playing Aphelios into that, maybe not the best. I would have been looking at the Caitlyn again here, or possibly even something like the Jhin or the Kaisa.
Yeah, those all would have been really good pickups. Galactic Warriors actually pivoting at Seraphine into the mid lane, it looks like, as they will be grabbing a Blitzcrank, probably to go into that support role. And Lilia solidifying out Galactic Warriors draft here. Lilia top definitely playable, but so is Viego. So a lot of flex potential. I kind of wish that we saw a little bit more of a frontline engage style tank. Blitzcrank obviously has great potential, but it's difficult for him to single-handedly start fights here. But perhaps the sleep from Lilia would be enough alongside the encore from Seraphine to really put in the hurt in 5v5 scenarios. MIT, meanwhile, solidifying and running their draft out with that Scion top lane.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really liking Galactic Warriors draft. I think this plays very well into the team fight style of play we saw last game coming from them, and it has a very much stronger early game punch than they did last game. I think if they can get the Zinzao, kind of keep him at bay, get your Samira ahead, keep your win cons going, I think they win this game late game every time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that what we're going to be seeing from the side of monkeys in training to push back against this relatively stronger choice that we've been seeing coming through from Galactic Warriors is an emphasis on getting the Seraphine shut down early and force them into that supportive build path of Moonstone into Staff of Flowing Water rather than allowing for her to build full AP. With that big chunk of damage kind of gone from the team, you're much more reliant upon getting solid movement in flanks for Lilia to really shine alongside Viego and Samira. Blitzcrank it will therefore be kind of relegated more towards a frontline role without the ability to really use his pick potential to the greatest extent possible. And I think in turn, that means that Galactic Warriors could be pushed off a little bit of the tempo that they are looking for. But at the same time, that's a very difficult plan to execute at the end of the day. You won't have the same kind of dominant bot lane prowess that we saw coming through for Thanatos and Sign was taking last time around. So a lot more on the line here, and I think that we're just going to be seeing a much more even game.
Yeah, and I really think this is going to come down to team fighting. I think whichever team fights better, has that better communication, they are going to be able to punish really really hard with these games, with these drafts. Again, I am liking Galactic Warriors draft a little bit better here. I think if they play this well, we could be going into a game three.
Yeah, and what do you think we're going to be seeing here in the top lane for their side? Will it be the Viego or the Lilia?
I think Lilia top is going to do extremely well into the Scion. I think you should be able to just kite him out, especially with the movement speed that comes through with Lilia's passive. I think Viego would have an extremely hard time playing into the Scion, not being able to do anything until at least two items, and potentially leading into that whole breaker Scion just completely dumpstering his lane.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that either champion is going to struggle in taking down the Scion in the 1v1. So what you're really looking for is just the ability to sustain through the lane and farm up well. And I think that Viego, as you said, is going to have a much harder time of that. I also like putting that Viego in the jungle for purposes of early game ganks. Obviously, Lilia has the ability to approach really quickly with the usage of their passive, but you're very much reliant upon landing things like your E in order for you to really set up for big kills. Viego, meanwhile, has a much easier time kind of getting in with the utilization of a fully charged W. And therefore, I think that Galactic Warriors would benefit from being able to set the pace early by grabbing that champion and putting them into the jungle role.
I really agree with that. I think abusing kind of the fact, as we do see the Lilia top picked there, we really didn't play all that well early game last game. I think putting more emphasis in your early game macro play is going to be really important here and what sets them apart from game one and game two.
Yeah, definitely. Viego in the jungle as well, as you were talking about right there, Fritz. Things are looking up pretty well for Galactic Warriors. Meanwhile, on the side of MIT, this is not to say that they themselves don't have a lot of really strong executable game plans. If Egyptians is able to kind of replicate the performance that they had last game into what is, frankly, in my opinion, an even easier laner than what you saw with the Nico, you could just be seeing another really, really fast, high tempo game that moves in favor of MIT. They'll be able to stack up dragons just due to mid pushing out so well. And in turn, they may be able to sustain themselves through some of the stronger champions that the Galactic Warriors have at their disposal, like the Lilia.
Yeah, and one thing I really kind of want to see out of Infinite 12 here is going to be abusing the fact that his mid laner is either going to be getting poked out or she's going to shove Pantheon in and force him under turret. Using that mid prio, we maybe don't have the best mid jungle 1v2, but it should isolate him into a lot of bot ganks having that mid prio and maybe being able to abuse Seraphine once she's level 6.
And the Samira Blitzcrank bot lane that we're seeing out here, I think really plays to the strengths that Stargazer has, at least attested to in game one here. They are someone who refuses to take flash here in the support role, instead opting to go for double summoners. And while flashing forward into Q for Blitzcrank is a huge source of engage and pick potential, at the same time, I really think that when you're combined with a champion like Samira who just wants to snowball, once you do land a hook, going double utility summoners in that lane basically spells a guaranteed kill against either the Soraka or the Aphelios.
Yeah, and I think Blitzcrank was an amazing pick for Stargazer here. He's going to be able to roam around, be able to roam with his Viego to punish that mid laner, punish their bot lane, taking the double summoners. I think Stargazer could be an extremely big carry here if they play it well. And with that said, we are going to go into the streamer's delay and we are going to put you to an intermission, but we will be right back with you once the game starts.
Welcome to Summoner's
Welcome
Rift.
back, everyone, to Zero Gravity Gaming. We're here in the Iron, Bronze, Silver League with yet another attempt at a group by the side of the
30
Galactic
seconds
Warriors
until
here.
minions spawn.
I'm really liking the level 1 invade with the Blitzcrank here. Definitely good to look for something.
Yeah, walking right here, they will be shown on vision, and Thanatos will try to move their way out of this Stargazer, looking for this hook down, and that will force the flash out of the AD carry on the side of Monkeys in Training.
And if only Stargazer had flash there
Minions
to
have
flash
spawned.
hook the Aphelios before he had time to react.
Oh gosh, I think we gotta at some point stop blaming Stargazer's choice. Maybe it'll come in clutch, you never know.
Maybe, but I'm gonna have to see it to believe it, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh no, I agree with that. I'm not really sure about this choice to go for the Exhaust Ignite, especially given the fact that you're on Glacial Augment. You have the full ability to go for Hex Splash, and with that gone, kind of feels bad, although big trades coming through in the mid lane already since Shira sent down to about half health against Egyptian.
God, Pantheon is just looking extremely balanced here with the longsword start.
Yeah, it's my favorite champion, man. Low elo god.
350 gold and you can half health a mage. Who would have thought? With one ability.
That W coming through yet again. They will trade a tower shot back, but this is already a pretty big wave being pushed mid lane for the side of Monkeys in Training.
Again, looking at this early game, we are really going to look for the Zhang Zhao, who is pathing down. Looks like he's going to just 4-camp clear into maybe a bot side game. That's who we really need to be paying attention here, because if you're Monkeys in Training, you're looking to just assert dominance and win the early game yet again.
Fiona, a little bit of trouble, but a hook coming through along with an Ignite and Exhaust. Stargazer dropping all their summoner spells here in order to try to get Thanatos down, and without a flash in their arsenal, possibly Lemmy gonna pick this one up as we see Egyptian rotate down, jump in. There's the W. Possibly Lemmy gonna flash, but there's the flash forward Q, and Egyptian will pick up a revenge kill in turn.
Yeah, and I don't know if both of the summoners coming off from Stargazer there was necessary. If you keep the exhaust, you can exhaust the Pantheon. We already knew Aphelios had no flash. But again, really good kill coming out, putting possibly Lemon ahead of Thanatos for the first time at any point in this series. Very, very big coming up to get this bot lane ahead, like we said, in the early game.
Yeah, this is really what you want to see for the side of the Galactic Warriors, especially after such a rough first game. They look pretty unperturbed by everything that went down here, playing confidently, getting the pushes where they can, and receiving this wave at tower pretty nicely. The question is, will Egyptian be able to translate this into another big play, as we see Shira catch out me, who's forced to flash away, but it's not going to be enough. Egyptian now trying to run, as we see Infinite 12 grabbing onto Xinjia's body, blinding Assault forward. There's a knockup into another root. Shira with great rotations of spells right there, as we see bot lane, more damage is being brought down onto the Monkeys in Training, as Shine was taken as the first to be taken down, and Thanatos will fall as well. The whole team basically knocked out right there. We see Crotheo getting their passive popped, and Red has Ligma is going to kite that one out and stay on the far side. 6-1 is currently the score for the side of Galactic Warriors.
Yeah, we see Galactic Warriors coming out with a vengeance here. They're very good 2v2 mid-jungle. Me just dying so fast from the double root. And then the solo bolo in the top lane for Red has Ligma. Just very well played, almost a 3k gold advantage at 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, it was basically a virtual ace so early on, and we see that translate over into a huge gold lead picked up not even 5 minutes into the game. Red has Ligma and maybe a little bit of trouble here. He's going to try to kite this one out. Going to be forced to flash as Crotheo hops forward with a flash of their own. Luckily, those are summoner spells traded at the top side, and Red has Ligma notably still has that teleport.
Yeah, and this is pretty much exactly what I expected from this top lane matchup. Lilia should just be able to permanently kite out this Scion. There is no real chance of him killing her unless he just punishes her being greedy, which it looks like she is right now.
Yeah, Red has Lima has very little mana, but at the same time, the Scion is going to have a difficult push inwards. Here we see me coming into the area, maybe looking for the dive down, but Lilia just going to walk this one back towards tier 2 as Infinite 12 is in the area. There's yet another Blitzcrank going down. Egyptian, the victim this time around, and that will be the Pantheon falling yet again as we see the rotation of 4 members of the Galactic Warriors over the first dragon.
We see the Stargazer carry coming out almost like he wants to prove something to us.
I wonder if he has this stream open and it's just non-stop flame for the non-flash.
Maybe it's time. Maybe we bow to the Stargazer carry.
Sleep coming out here. Red has just going to give him one bonk and Crotheo will go down. That passive will not be able to catch up to this deer.
And we see pretty much everything Galactic Warriors needed to do this game is happening.
I don't know what you're doing here, buddy. You're 3 levels down onto this Lilia. This is looking pretty darn scary. And one more Q is going to force you back all the way under the tower there.
Yeah, like I said, everything Galactic Warriors that they needed to happen to win this game is happening to very, very good success so far. Let's see another bot 2v2 is going to start breaking out.
Exhaust Ignite being dropped by Stargazer yet again. No hook coming out and a lot of damage being traded back onto the Blitzcrank means that this time it will not translate over to a kill for the Galactic Warriors. In fact, it'll give a little bit more priority over to the side of Monkeys in Training, who desperately need every wave they can get right now.
I agree. If you look at the CS in the bot lane, up 25 CS is going to be possibly Lemon, who... You know, looking over at the other side, he said, you got to carry a game. Let me put my team on my back this game.
Yeah, it's so crazy how swingy these games have been. It clearly shows how much of a draft advantage was given over to the side of Monkeys in Training in round 1. We see the E coming through into a full combo from the Lilia, who's able to just harass Crow while they're trying to just farm up this wave.
Yeah, it really is just night and day. It looks like we're watching Last Game Over, just with the roles being reversed.
Maybe it's just blue side advantage.
Yeah, 100%. I think what we need to be looking for from Monkeys in Training is putting more gold into this Aphelios. He's almost 30 gold behind, and we're not bringing our jungler down bot lane to help him out. And that's really where we need to be getting the kills.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate because with your bot lane playing weak side to the extent to which they are, you have to focus on mid and top, and mid is always going to be pushing in favor of the Pantheon, which in turn means it's going to be difficult for Xin Zhao to go for anything but dives there. And top side of the map, imagine trying to rush down a Lilia. Already we saw me approach the deer, and the deer just walks straight back here. It's going to be a very, very troublesome match now for this Xin Zhao to try to make a mark across the map here. We see a lot of Poe going down mid lane, Egyptian taking the brunt of that doubled up Q right to the face here, and we are about another 2 minutes before the next dragon, but Rift Herald is up, so that will be where we're focusing our attention.
And again, I really think that for this Rift Herald, you want to be using it to get plates onto something that you are going to want to carry the game. So I'm looking at either bot or top here for Galactic Warriors. I think using a top is going to be extremely good here because of how well Lilia is going to be able to kite through this comp.
Encore being dropped right here. Egyptian trying to do his best to stay alive, but the Flash Heartbreaker from Infinite 12 will pick it up. Me rotating into the area to get the revenge kill, though, and Sinshira sent running.
We are just I don't know, we do a little bit of trolling coming out from Infinite 12 there. Fun fact, Viego passives do not reset turret aggro anymore. So, yeah, tanking turret the entire time he's down there. But other than that, really good dive coming out, putting the Pantheon even farther behind so he cannot become a champion pretty much ever in this game.
Yeah, and Seraphine really needs the priority here. Sinshira just down so much CS right now, and as we're seeing those double amplifying tomes be built, I think that this implies that we will in fact be seeing them try to go for a full AP style. Crotheo getting a lot of damage down onto them, going to try to Q the Lilia, but she is just going to prance around.
Yeah, this is not going to be a fun lane at all for the rest of the game for Sion. Getting those 2 solo kills has basically eliminated him from the game, and he's not building the whole breaker first. You can see the bomb cinder being picked up as we see
Yeah,
another
the
bot
knockup from
continue to-
Stargazer, possibly Lemon gonna jump forward here. We see Soraka drop ultimate in turn, but this is a huge rotation. Egyptian and me in the area now. Stargazer, the first one to get chased down as we see the W come down onto possibly Lemon alongside the Ignite. That will be a dead Samira, and Stargazer is sure to follow here as well. No revenge kills traded back either. The Soraka doing a magnificent job sustaining everyone through that protracted fight here. This will hopefully translate over into a bit more gold and a little bit of a comeback coming through for Monkeys in Training.
Yeah, extremely, like really well played. As we see the 4-man bot game, this is exactly what they need to continue to do. They need to get the Aphelios gold and get him back in this game. As you can see, Samira already has the full shield bow done.
Yeah, versus just a noon quiver for the Aphelios. Thanatos in a rough spot to be sure, and it is not going to get any easier without more rotations like what we just saw come forward. Viego getting collapsed on a little bit here. Sign was taking an Egyptian going to accompany me up here into the mid lane. But it looks like Blitzcrank wrapping around the side, maybe trying to find a way in. Will be spotted out in turn though.
Man, this is really good.
Oh, a little bit of a fight here. Me just going for those poor Raptors. Sign was taken is going to try to do their best to get them out of that situation, but I think Egyptian is now going a little bit too deep themselves. That encore!
Oh my God!
And it's going to be a huge pickup for the side of Galactic Warriors. What an incredible ultimate. Crow Theo now maybe trying to turn things around. Infinite 12 going into that Soraka, not able to do a ton of damage, but there's the second Heartbreaker, and Crow Theo is going to be forced behind their tier 2. Sinshira turning that play around in a huge way.
That was single-handedly the best encore I have ever seen. So well played, and the Diego putting down so much damage with the completed Divine Sunder. The re-engage from Egyptian really wasn't necessary. Soraka just proving how unbalanced she was, got 2 people out of that fight there. And the re-engage just bought enough time for Seraphine to rotate and hit the amazing encore.
Pure geometry coming through for Sinshira, managing to hit all 3 of those champions here. Red has Ligma finally getting a little bit caught out here, taking a turret shot, but he's going to drop that sleet and continue to kite out this Sion topside.
Yeah, I don't think there's any point Sion's going to be able to kill her without at least 3 people there, or some form of hard CC. She's just so dang fast.
I do like that utilization of ultimate though. Oh, meanwhile, bot side of the map, sorry about that. Possibly Lemon hopping in onto Sign was taken, and me definitely caught out on that Gromp. Thanatos and the Soraka just kind of have to sit and watch in horror as their jungle is gunned down.
Already watching Samira putting through so much damage with her R. I don't really know how you end up in that situation as that Xin Zhao, but if we don't continue as the fight breaks out the top lane.
Yeah, Egyptian going to R right in and drop the W down. You cannot run away from point and click CC like that, as Thanatos is going to be all alone after Sign was taken falls here to this 4-man collapse. We'll see how long they'll be able to stay alive. No wave is with the blue team here, so they're going to have to push this one back in if they want to try to go for the re-engage. But as we see Sinshira sit in that bush and Blitzcrank backing, I think that for the time being, that Aphelios is going to get out alive. There's an encore though. I may have spoken too soon. Me going to jump in as well, as possibly Lemon is going to try to get as much damage down onto the Aphelios as possible. And so far it's a 1-for-1, but there's another turret shot, and now look at that. Me has grabbed the double kill for themselves.
Really, really unfortunate that both those kills going onto the Xin Zhao. He elected to fight the Seraphine and kill her.
Heartbreaker down onto the Xin Zhao. Sorry about that. Once more, we're just in the middle of a fight, Fritz, as we see huge heal being dropped down, and it looks like Infinity 12, after getting so close to knocking out their counterpart in the jungle, is just going to have to back off from that one. Egyptian is almost hooked right there by Stargazer.
Yeah, again, Soraka just proving how extremely balanced she is with that gigantic heal coming out.
No Moonstone yet either. It's crazy. That will be a sleep going down onto the Scion, and one more spin will have it. That Leandry's Torment doing so much work for the Lilia topside.
It's the third solo bolo this game. Lilia top. So not fun to play against is that Scion.
All right, me gonna get W'd on right here. There is no Heartbreaker up for the Viego, and it is going to be a 3v2, but that will be the Xin Zhao going down first, and now the fight's really turning in favor of Galactic Warriors as Seraphine rotates in. Cyan was taken again after the blast plant right out of there.
Yeah, looking really, really good for Galactic Warriors here. 5K Big B gold lead. Like I said, we're not seeing very good team fight coordination from MIT. And, I mean, Galactic Warriors, we saw it a little bit last game, but they are really just outshining them in these fights. So coordinated, very good communication. I think if they just keep playing together, this game should just be free win for them.
And we see Galactic Warriors just hanging around waiting for this dragon to come down, and given the movement we're seeing out of Monkeys in Training, it does not look like they want to really contest this. Instead, they're going to try to move their resources across the map and get some waves pushed in, maybe grab a tower in turn. But this is a big rotation up to the mid. We don't know if Egyptian has vision right now, and this will be a three-person collapse. Red, Sinshira, and Infinite 12 all in their area. We see Egyptian finally see what's happening and walk back towards their own jungler as bot side. Thanatos is going to get hooked by the Blitzcrank, but he will be able to move out of there with the utilization of both of his summoner spells. And look at that. It's almost like an engage didn't even happen. Immediately getting healed right back up as we see Crow dropping an ultimate of their own in order to run away from this engage from Sinshira, dropping down and trying to get the gank off. We see the pings come through. It looks like the blue side is not just satisfied with picking up two dragons. They want this Rift Herald as well.
Again, we're seeing a lot of this gold advantage come through this
Visual come through. Egyptian gonna look for a way in onto this one here. He will get hooked and immediately knocked up, and a lot of damage is being traded back as we see Soraka ultimate come out. Meanwhile, that Rift Herald going to go over to the blue team, but Crotheo and May are a little bit caught out here as the ultimate will come through. Encore drop down, and Crotheo is charmed. That will be Xin Zhao, followed swiftly by the Scion, taken out of this one. 20-7 is currently the score in favor of the Galactic Warriors.
Yeah, really good. Again, really good cross-map fighting coming out. They see the three people bot side, they engage top side knowing they win. And you see some of these kind of Hail Mary plays coming out from MIT. It's starting to get to the point where it's too late. This Samir is getting big. This Viego is so fed 2 items. It's going to be an extremely uphill battle, and you're going to need to hope that someone somewhere finds the miracle engage, the miracle fight.
Yeah, definitely. Egyptian has been doing a really solid job rotating to try to turn fights in favor of Monkeys in Training, but at this point, it may not be enough. The damage coming through from possibly a Lemon, plus the control that Stargazer has, means that these constant ultimates bottom side has not really been translating into a whole lot. 3, 5, and 2, the identical KDAs for both the jungler and the mid laner on the side of Monkeys in Training here. And when you look at that scoreline in terms of the CS difference, especially there in the jungle, we're beginning to see some of Me's weaknesses play through here, but they aren't exactly buoyed by the rest of their team they were in game 1. Remember, like in that game, even though they were down a ton of CS against Infinite 12 on the Diana, you basically saw them just perma-ganking lanes, but the perma-gank's not really coming through. Meanwhile, speaking of ganks, Red had this Ligma just sitting there in a bush, dropping the E into ultimate, and is pretty confident just running at this Scion, who's going to have to flash away and drop an ultimate of their own, running down towards the welcoming arms of Egyptian and Me. Red has Ligma, though, looking for the engage still, as Infinite 12 is going to flash in and W to grab the kill onto the Scion first. He's now running forward and going to Heartbreaker down onto Me, who's going to fall shortly after. The Encore not going to really land onto much of anything, but it does not matter, since Shira may have missed, but you know what, doesn't possibly Lemon, dropping a huge amount of damage down and getting an ace over for their team.
Yeah, again, we see a lot of these advantages that Galactic Warriors has just carved out throughout this entire game. The CS advantage in the jungle, the CS advantage in bot lane, the level advantage is all over the map. And the absolute ace for them coming through. This game is all but over as they push through to all of the tier 1s.
Yeah, and this inhibitor turret falling at 20 minutes spells a big trouble for the side of Monkeys, as we saw the Baron becoming such a huge win con for them in a dominating fashion in game 1. They might look to get that mirrored against them here, as it will be the driver's seat put over for the Galactic Warriors.
As we see I'm blanking on the name, the Armor Drake coming up in 40 seconds.
The Mountain Drake.
The Mountain
yeah.
Drake. I'm blanking on the name. Thank you for that. Mountain gonna be an extremely good soul for them here, buffing up that Viego and buffing up that how do you say Blitzcrank? I don't know. I'm having a very, very hard time here. Second item's coming out for the Samira and the Lilia. The Frozen Heart picked up for Lilia, gonna be even tankier than she already was, and that's when you could still touch her. She's going to be kiting around these fights so well and not taking damage. This Lily is going to be huge in these 5v5s.
Yeah, and we see the sleep marked onto Crow. They won't be using their ultimate quite yet, though. I think that they want the full team fight to occur in haste, as we see the hook go over onto the Pantheon. Stargazer does not miss, and Sinshire going to pick up that kill, as we see the Encore going to run itself down onto the Scion here. Xin and the Scion both getting cleaned up by the blue team. Basically, an ace coming through as Thanatos and Sign was taken are just going to have to book their way out of here. Heal coming through to try to speed up these two, but the Lilia is way too fast. And look at the amount of burn damage that is going to force more heals coming through for the Soraka, but they will cluster under their inhibitor and just hope and pray as we see the Baron get started up.
The Baron startup is extremely strong here. Something I'm just now noticing, the Xin Zhao first bought the Eclipse even though he was behind. I don't like that. Going full damage as your team slowly is falling behind, I think it just puts you even further behind. We're getting to the point where no one on their team is really doing enough damage to fight back. I think this game is all but a Nexus exploding for MIT at this point.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment. I think that at this point, the gold gap has just gotten completely out of control. The bounties on 4 of your 5 players, and frankly, you don't want a bounty on Blitzcrank anyways, really shows the extent to which every single lane has emerged victorious from that early game for the side of Galactic Warriors here. We see Stargazer confidently walking up.
Did Stargazer build a tier?
As well. Sure looks like it. Pretty late tier 2. Only 96 stacks there on to that Winter's Approach.
Well, he could have had the Winter's Approach for the last 15 minutes. It's only at 96 stacks. He is playing Blitzcrank.
I guess that's true.
Not really understanding
choices.
what the reasoning behind that is, but I mean, Stargazer playing very well this game, hitting some very big hooks. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with that tier.
Big death march of 3 players from Galactic Warriors through the mid lane here. They want to crack open that inhibitor and in turn just get more priority across the map. Stargazer going for a bit of a flank here, going to just get some vision and make sure they won't be collapsed on. And as we see the group come through of everyone but the Samira, this could be the start of the end. Protheo, the first one getting hooked here, and a huge encore coming through. Grant hitting 4 of them. That will be wombo comboed right into the Lilia ultimate. A double kill picked up for the top laner on the side of the Galactic Warriors as we see Infinite 12 run forward using Scion Body to get a huge knockup, and everyone but Sign was taken is dead so far. Will that burn be enough? Ligma gonna in fact grab it right there as we see the inhibitor fall in game 2 go over to the Galactic Warriors.
Yeah, very well played for Galactic. They definitely earned their way into the game 3. I cannot express how well they played all of these fights. Extremely well coordinated. As you see a little bit of VM and fountain diving coming out from them before the end of the game.
That was called the hook. Oh my god. Put Stargazer on Blitzcrank every game, please.
Honestly, really well played. I think we need to pay a little bit more respect to the Stargazer gap. No
all I'm
flash
saying is,
needed.
imagine what they could do with Hex Flash, okay?
I don't disagree. I still don't necessarily disagree with you. I think Hex Flash is just a little too good for them. Really well played coming out from Galactic Warriors. We are going to throw it to an intermission as we get ready for Game 3. This is going to be our first Game 3 series streamed in the last, I think, this season. It's always been 2-0s. So we will be right back with you guys as we get ready for Game 3.
Welcome back, friends, to the Zero Gravity Gaming League. We are here in a third game between Monkeys in Training and Galactic Warriors. Huge swings either way so far in this series, which means that this third draft is really up to anyone. How are you feeling about what we'll be seeing here in this third round?
I think as we get into this third round of drafts, I think MIT should really not be looking at the Pantheon anymore. I think that's giving up so much utility. He played it very well as far as rotating, but when you fall behind, you fall behind hard. Um, as far as drafting, I think we need to really put some more focus in the bot lane, as we saw me not really rotating towards that bot lane and getting him Thanatos ahead. And a game that really seems like Thanatos is who you want to be getting ahead. So I think we need to put more focus on that bot lane 2v2, getting our jungler to rotate down there, getting Prio, and getting Thanatos ahead so he can carry this game, much like he did game one.
And we see a few adapted bans come through from both sides here. On the side of Monkeys in Training, they will be knocking that Blitzcrank out of rotation here. Sign was taken. Not having a great time alongside Thanatos there against Stargazer's double utility summoner spell support Blitzcrank.
Yeah, like I said, we just need to bow down to Stargazer proving us wrong. Um, I don't really know what he's going to look for. His Zyra is not banned for the first time all series. We could be looking to get into that as we see the Xin Zhao B1.
Yeah, Monkeys in Training really loving this pick as we see some repeat uptakes from Galactic Warriors here, putting themselves back onto the Viego and Seraphine. I've talked about it before, Fritz. I absolutely adore casting the Seraphine, and I really think that Sinshira did justice to this champion. Incredible on-course, frankly, turned the tide of the match at multiple points.
Yeah, and I'm really looking for something that's going to be able to punish this in the mid lane. As we see a very strong ADC, I mentioned earlier, Kaisa coming out. Now, something I have been seeing a little bit of this is AP Kaisa mid lane. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here, but I know that there have been a lot of pros and very high elo players playing this pick a lot. And it is something that could play very well into the Seraphine.
Oh, I have so many things to say about the current state of Kaisa, as Brand will be taken here. Could go into the hands of Egyptian, but similarly, Sign was taken, having a penchant for these big AP high damage supports. Or yeah, may in fact go for that champion themselves. The Kaisa is someone who really benefits from the fact that they're able to play so far back when they build AP, because they're able to just launch void missiles with pretty wild abandon and do a ton of damage with each one of them. And that kind of freedom to position much more flexibly when you go for this kind of build path means that even though it could be flexing in the mid lane, even if it goes into the hands of Thanatos there in the AD carry role, I still might prefer them to go for that kind of AP hybrid build, frankly.
The AP hybrid build is very good. I don't know if I like Thanatos, someone who has proven that they're a very good carry player and a very good mechanical player, on something that's going to be sitting back. I think putting him on something that is going to be a little bit more damage, like something we saw last game. Even the Aphelios seems just fine into this comp. We see very squishy backliners coming out from Seraphine and Zyra. And a Viego that wants to come into you, I think playing the anti-dive Aphelios would be extremely good here for Thanatos. As long as he does not get put behind as hard as he did game two, it could prove very, very well for him.
And I like the fact that Galactic Warriors are going to be pinching that top lane selection from Monkeys in Training by knocking out two of the big tank threats that we see in the meta currently, Malphite and Ornn being locked away here, as Monkeys in Training will respond with a ban into Red Has Ligma's Lilia this time around alongside the Alawi.
Yeah, and I really like the Lilia ban. Putting him on something that he was very clearly comfortable on, he really was just able to abuse that matchup extremely well, and then late game kite around team fights like nothing.
Yeah, and if we do in fact see a Kaisa mid and then another squishy AD carry marksman being chosen for Thanatos, I think that this basically means that Monkeys in Training are looking to kind of move back towards that Psy on top or something similar in terms of a team-oriented tank champion. We didn't even really see the Hullbreaker come through that game. It became a much more oriented build.
Don't do
and the
it!
Pantheon's
No,
getting covered
please!
again.
No!
Will be locked in. I don't. Okay, Fritz. I don't think it's that bad. We saw them
It's
pop off game one. It could happen again.
it could happen again, but when I think Galactic Warriors kind of came into their own game too, and we saw how well they were team fighting, how much better they played that early game. I think you're just handicapping your team fight so hard by putting your mid on something like the Pantheon. And now you're forcing Thanatos into that Kaisa where Kaisa can 1v9 if you get fed, but I mean, we're really just putting all of our hope into this Xin Zhao Pantheon getting ahead early. And I think if they fall behind this game, you've just FF'd game 3.
And it's kind of the same take that we had in game one regarding Pantheon as well. I kind of think I'd prefer Pantheon Kaisa bot lane with Brand in the mid here against the Seraphine, frankly. It would just allow for you to utilize Pantheon as a little bit more of a utility style champion and put all of the gold onto a high damage carry like the Brand here.
Uh,
Most likely, though, it will in fact be Thanatos and Sign was taken on Kaisa and Brand, but at the same time, there's always hope, there's always hope, and it may turn around the way that Monkeys in Training played this game 3 out.
yeah, and I really, really do like the how well he did play it game 1. I just don't think that once you've realized how well these teams have played their team fights, especially when you're getting them back onto their comfort picks, you're putting what is it, Stargazer on his Zyra. You're getting Syndra on something who they just played it very well on the Seraphine. Mordekaiser from game 1 coming back out, we saw he was the only person that was playing well, at least game 1 on that Mordekaiser. He got super far ahead. I think that this game should just be a stomp for Galactic Warriors. I guess we will see. There is always the ability for Monkeys in Training to just be better.
Yeah, but at the same time, these are a lot of really powerful faces being reprised on Galactic's Warriors side. We will see Red has Ligma grab that Mordekaiser again, and in that game 1, they were definitely not the lose condition. They were not the reason why we saw so much trouble coming through for GW. So I'm happy to see them back on this pick. I also think that it helps to balance out the damage distribution a little bit, especially if we will be seeing a more supportive Seraphine this time around. Since Shira did a really good job going full AP and also had the income in order to do so. But now, given the fact that you have this Zyra as the support, you might look to kind of pivot the build path there in the mid lane, right? And in turn, the Riftmaker Mordekaiser and the AP threat you have topside actually becomes a lot more valuable.
Yeah, and I really think that Mordekaiser is going to end up being something that's very big here for their team. If they can look to get this Mordekaiser ahead and kind of let their bot lane just chill, I don't think that they have any way really late game to kill this Mordekaiser. Or at least keep him in check, if that makes sense. I, again, am looking at this bot lane. I think Thanatos or possibly Lemon have both proven whoever gets ahead, they're going to carry this game. And I think that's where we need to be paying attention as far as looking at this game goes.
Yeah, a bot lane focus for a third game in a row. I am 100% down for. We've been getting some explosive plays from both sides here. And although I think that these rosters are generally pretty locked in terms of where we imagine these champions are going to go, here in the client draft, I'm still really interested to see if we will get some last second decisions coming through, especially for Monkeys in Training. As we said before, please go Pantheon support here. Sign was taken, could do a whole lot on the champion early, get in onto the Zyra and put down the hurt, while also just allowing for Egyptian to do a ton of damage and really get priority over that mid lane. But at the same time, I think history will repeat itself. We will be getting Egyptian on their Pantheon choice here. I don't know, Fritz. I really do think that MIT still has a chance. They just got to flex where they position these champions and how they execute their game plan, frankly.
I think that I know for a fact Egyptian's going to just lock in Pantheon right now. And locking in the Pantheon, there it
Oh,
is.
it's my turn to scream no. No, God.
I think that this Pantheon, it can do work if you need to really just abuse the fact that your champion is only a champion for 20 minutes out of this game. If you can get ahead early, like he's proven he can do, putting Infinite 12 behind here and putting possibly Lemon behind, those are your two key things you need to be focusing on. You need to get their jungler behind who's proven he can carry really hard on this Viego, and you need to get possibly Lemon behind who just carried a game on Samira. Like, you need to get these high damage dealers behind and focus on ending the game pre 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but I'm just thinking about the jungle mid 2v2 that we saw come through last game. It's going to be the same here. Viego going over to Infinite 12, me 222,000 on that Xin Zhao, and Pantheon going over to Egyptian. I don't know. I like we saw an early loss from the Xin Zhao and Pantheon into the Viego Seraphine last game, and I don't really know how they're going to be able to adapt to this matchup this time around.
I really think theoretically Xin Zhao and Pantheon should win this 2v2. I think they heavily misplayed it last time as they took the fight. Viego going in, or Xin Zhao going in first and the Pantheon coming in extremely late. I think if they played the 2v2 better, they should win it early. I would say pre 6 is going to be their strongest point. But MIT really just needs to look to end this game quick and get their Kaisa ahead. I think if they let this game go past 30 minutes where everyone has items, it's going to be just unwinnable in team fights.
I do think that Galactic Warriors has a little bit less lockdown than last time around, given that we see the pivot of Stargazer over to the Zyra from the Blitzcrank, and we no longer have that Lilia topside for Red has Ligma. That means that you don't get that huge wombo of Seraphine into Lilia sleep, but at the same, and so maybe we could see that monkeys in training trying to utilize that to their advantage. They're able to play a little bit more aggressively just because if you manage to get enough tankiness down onto the Garen, onto the Xin Zhao, and onto the Pantheon, it can really kind of frontline through this initial burst of damage that Galactic Warriors has at their disposal.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be. It's really going to come down to who plays the early game better, as it has the last couple of times. And on that, we are going to send it to an intermission as we wait for the spectator delay. But we will see you guys as soon as we get into game 3.
Welcome back, friends, to Zero Gravity Gaming's Iron, Bronze, and Silver League. We are here at a 1-1 score between Monkeys in Training and the Galactic Warriors. Both teams
30
vying to
seconds
keep the
remaining
hope alive
score.
of moving directly into playoffs here in this series. Fritz, what do you think we're going to be seeing out of these early opening moments?
I think we're going to see a lot of the same plays we saw from last game coming out from Galactic Warriors. I think we need to really put focus on possibly Lemon on this Samira, proving how strong he can play it last game, and Stargazer Zyra that has been banned all series coming out this game. He is known for this champion, again with the
Minions have
exhaust
spawned.
ignite, proving that Flash is useless, I guess.
I do like how that was utilized on the Blitzcrank last game, but I just can't imagine it's quite as valuable here onto a squishy poke champion like the Zyra. I guess maybe this is their chance to prove us wrong one last time before this series closes, but there's certainly a lot up in the air here.
Yeah, and I've liked how every game we've seen these junglers starting opposite sides of each other. This really has kept the junglers pathing opposite, has really created some interesting 2v2s in the bot lanes, early scuttle takes, and we see good trading already coming out from Pantheon.
Yeah, that's about the best you can hope for if you're Egyptian right here, trying to start off the lane with a huge amount of damage being dropped down onto the Seraphine. We do see a pause come through early on. Hopefully everyone is all right, but for the time being, Fritz, how are you looking to see this one play out?
As far as looking to see this play out, we see Egyptian already getting a CS lead, already pushing back the Seraphine. If we can really abuse Egyptian's ability to get an opportunity to leave lane, I would say in the next, at 3:15 when Scuttle spawns, we should really be looking to rotate Egyptian around into helping the jungler secure both these Scuttles and possibly even kill.
Yeah, hopefully if we get vision established on where either jungler is and we see that they started pathing opposite sides once more, this could allow for a pretty big confrontation at Scuttle Crab, even if it is picked up via the utilization of Smite by either Infinite 12 or me 222,000. I think that what will ultimately come through from this will be a pretty big battle and potentially a kill, especially if priority is really heavily established one way or the other. And it looks like for the time being, things are still going to stay relatively even here. The engage potential from the bot side is not necessarily as explosive as it was in game 2, where we saw the Soraka versus Blitzcrank matchup. Here, a lot more is going to be established via poke and jungler interference. So with me 220,000 pathing down bot side, perhaps this will be the time when things begin to get a little bit spicy, as we see Viego showing in the mid lane here. Egyptian able to kite his way back towards the tower. It looks like there's a lot of damage going down onto both Infinite 12 and the Pantheon, but it looks like either will escape unscathed. As meanwhile, topside, heavy trading between the Garen and Mordekaiser.
Yeah, and I do have to point out, I did experience technical difficulties for a second. I had my timer freeze up. I want to make sure that you and I are synchroned.
Yeah, I'm at about 325.
I am about 5 seconds behind you. Just keep that in mind. Again, really
Well,
heavy, yeah, really gigantic CS lead coming out in the mid lane for Egyptian. 5 CS at 3 minutes, not exactly what you want to see out of your Seraphine.
Yeah, and maybe this will be the inciting factor for going for Moonstaff Seraphine mid. At least that's what I'm hopes going to show through here. But at the same time, Infinite 12 really favoring these ganks in the mid lane, showing up there once more. I think that given the way that the gold income is going, especially early on, and the fact that you have Stargazer on such a damage-focused champion, it's just going to be really prudent there for Seraphine to itemize a bit differently this time around. But I guess we will see at the end of the day. Right now, it looks like the health differential is really going in favor of the Galactic Warriors there on the bot side of the map. Brand just not able to get close enough to Zyra here in this matchup.
Yeah, and we're starting to see a little bit of CS gap come through already in the bot lane. We want to really keep abusing this matchup for the Zyra. Stargazer really putting in some poke work.
Xin Zhao in the area looking for a gank, will not land that W and will not try to approach. Oh, but there it comes through. The flash being dropped from the brand here will be met with a flash in turn by possibly Lemon. Theo just gonna spin their way through this crowd of minions right here and receive them at the tower. Mordekaiser really putting on quite the clinic up here on how to play out this matchup.
Yeah, I'm really liking the slow pushing waves from him, really abusing the fact. I would be looking for a cheater recall here. I feel like staying here is just a little pointless. Going to cheater and making this Garen push his way back to your tower and getting items so you can abuse him or possibly even get your way frozen for your jungler should be what he's looking to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that in turn, my stream has also completely frozen up, unfortunately. So I will have to hop out of this one. If it'd be possible to just get a stream, we will in fact be resynchronized back on your side, if that works for you.
I am streaming through Discord, so you should be able to see.
All right, thank you so much.
Sir.
All right, and technical difficulties continue to abound for us, but we push through here in the Zero Gravity Gaming League. Let's see how things are playing out right now. Some pretty solid trades once more coming through on the top side of the map, but the score stays at 0-0 here. It'll be interesting to see if we will finally get an effective gank, but either side really has not been able to kind of establish dominance one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm really liking me 22 is staying even in CS with the Viego this time. Not seeing as much of early game tempo, but we are seeing even CS numbers come out across the board, except in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. Seraphine here still has not been able to back for a buy. In turn, they are sitting here just solely on the tier, while Pantheon has been able to itemize forward into a boot plus serrated Dirk.
Yeah, serrated Dirk is a very big power spike early for the Pantheon. He's going to be able to put a lot of damage down in these level 6 roam timers, which he should be looking for to ult into a side lane sometime soon.
There's the Encore coming out as soon as the engage comes through for the Pantheon, and with that rotation up, it looks like 12 is going to go forward and get a kill. But even with Stargazer in the area, that is yet again Pantheon escaping with their bacon intact.
Yeah, still looking for first blood here. Both teams playing a lot more conservative than we've seen the last 2 games. The last 2 games being just an absolute bloodbath.
And I'm sure they would make it a bloodbath if they so were able to, but right now I just don't think that the champion selections are super conducive to that occurring, although that may change here. Top side of the map, Garen have to flash away, but he's going to be able to run under tower. It's not far enough, though, and the bonk will come down. Mordekaiser picking up a solo bolo first blood, as it looks like Me is going to try to equalize the score up here. He will pick up that revenge kill.
See, the only problem with this not being a bloodbath is I don't think that's good for MIT. I think really what they're trying to do here with their champ select, with the Xin Zhao and the Pantheon, they're trying to get ahead early. And letting this game evenly scale is not going to be good for Pantheon or Xin Zhao. Letting this Zyra get items, start poking a lot, letting the Samir get items, it's not going to turn out well for them if they continue to let this game slide away.
Yeah, definitely a little bit problematic here. We're beginning to also see this push advantage come through and pay a few dividends over to the side of Galactic Warriors here in the bot lane, as we already are sitting on Cloud Drakes over here, and this may be the ability to set up rotation they need. That being said, ultimate being dropped here from the mid lane. Pantheon is going to be able to kill down onto Stargazer. He will go really low, but I don't think possibly Lemon is able to trade back, and there we see Thanatos pick up a kill as well.
Yeah, again, really good. Exactly what we needed to see from this Pantheon in the early game. Getting that rotation bot lane, killing possibly Lemon and Stargazer here. Possibly Lemon almost able to turn around, was not able to stack for his ultimate, as you see another fight for this Herald.
Yeah, this one going in favor of Infinite 12 so far. He will in fact pick up that double kill here for the side of Galactic Warriors, and they will even out that score. It is now 3-3 once more. And no neutral objective has been claimed quite yet. This will be the collapse of the Warriors over onto the Rift Herald first, though.
Yeah, and Infinite 12 getting that double kill there is very, very important to their game plan. We already saw him absolutely pop off last game, being able to abuse this Viego pick, and he's looking to carry his team again to a Game 3 W.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we see across the map that no attempt was really made onto the Dragon as a response to this take of the Rift Herald topside, which is a little bit unfortunate for MIT. As you were saying before, they still have that more early game focused composition here, and the fact that now this Viego is sitting at 2-0, he'll just be able to kind of bring that gold all the way across the map and really influence where if they so desire. Oh, that's a big death bush coming through. A lot of plants in the area, and possibly Levin grabbing a kill down on the Thanatos, popping ultimate, but Brand will get away.
Yeah, really, really good engage there. Face checking that bush, no vision, definitely not good. As we see another fight topside.
W not going to land. Garen kind of standing there still there for a second. Not really sure what's going on. I think that he's probably in Mordekaiser ultimate. It's hard to tell through the Discord stream.
Can confirm.
He got taken through Brazil. Unfortunate. My apologies. It is a little bit difficult to tell the exact boundaries of the fight so far, as I'm just kind of working in 8-bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. Streaming to two different sources, not that easy for...
Oh, no, I'm not blaming you at all. I'm sure it's my internet.
Another fight is breaking out bottom, top side, fighting over the scuttle.
Yeah, Xinjiao looks like he's going to be able to grab the scuttle there and get a little bit of vision around this dragon, but top side of the map with the Rift Herald drop, that will be first tower popped over to the side of the Galactic Warriors.
I do like the call from MIT here to try and trade Drake for that top turret, knowing that Viego is topside.
There's the Encore coming through, gonna charm down onto the Xinjiao, who will pop an ultimate in turn. Zyra, though, dropping it. The floor is lava now, but Pantheon is going to run forward and ensure that possibly Levin will not survive this one, as another kill goes over to the side of MIT. They will pick up a double-double right there with the Seraphine also falling.
You have to say, MIT is staying in this game, fighting as hard as they can. Keeping the score 5-5, only about a 500 gold lead here. Most of that gold is going to be on the Viego, sitting at 2-0. But we really, really need to pay attention to is Brand here. Brand is a champion that anyone in solo queue will tell you is just dumb broken with gold.
Yeah, and they got that gold, 2-0-2.
Narco, I don't know if you've ever had to play against this champion when he's fed, but my god, is it a pain.
Oh, playing against him when he isn't fed is a pain, because he can be like 0-4 and then just walk to a team fight and press R and suddenly emerge with a triple kill. It's ridiculous.
This champ is known for absolutely deleting you without you knowing what happened, and this is what we're going to really need from Sign Was Taken here to keep his team in the game, as him and his Kaiser are the only two people that really scale all that well.
Yeah, and we're beginning to see Garen there on the top side of the map. Hemorrhage gold, that is not a lane that is going in favor of Monkeys in Training. So the focus really going to have to be here on the massive CS difference that the Pantheon is able to establish against the Seraphine, alongside the fact that that bot lane is beginning to scale up quite nicely with that Brand grabbing quite a few kills for themselves.
Right, and again, we're just seeing very even CS, except for in the top and mid lane, each going to each favor. I'm really proud of Monkeys in Training jungler for staying very even in CS this game. We saw that was kind of a problem with him the last two. Now what we really need to focus on is just putting possibly Lemon and Infinite 12 behind. I talked about it early game. If you continue to hemorrhage gold to these players, they are going to make you lose the game.
Gotcha.
That's definitely true. Void Missile going to land right there on to Stargazer, but at the same time, not really able to translate that over into a big engage. We see how that top side priority, though, that is really beginning to pick up steam for the Mordekaiser is coming through and paying dividends over to the side of the Galactic Warriors, though. He's just able to grab onto that Rift Maker super early here, has the armored boots as well, and now that he has these waves crashed in, it looks like he might be able to finally start to free himself up from that lane, go for roams, and go for fights.
Yeah, going for fights here definitely is what MIT needs to start doing. Again, we need to really focus on this Pantheon, or abusing it on cooldown, creating these huge fights, number advantages that you need to be looking for with this comp. Just letting the game passively go on like this, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, I
We
definitely
see-
agree. And we see Seraphine coming with a lost chapter to this lane here. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think that this is the correct build path, especially when you're just squeezed for CS as hard as the Seraphine currently is here. You will not have the gold income to really sustain and push through a lot of damage. So why not default for something a little bit more supportive, especially as you do have a Zyra on your team. A little bit of a collapse here on the bot side of the map against the Warriors as we see that ultimate come through and really insect the Zyra back into the rest of the team. It looks like in turn Pantheon will grab the kill down onto possibly Lemon, but Sign was taken, will be shut down here in turn. Seraphine
Where
in a
did
little bit of
Seraphine
trouble.
come from? Did she
All
teleport
the way
in?
by themselves. Yeah, this is a little bit worrisome. That was in fact a teleport coming through, and that encore, sure, charming a lot of people, but not able to get a kill back. That's really a problematic spot now for Galactic Warriors.
Also flashing
Really
out.
wasting the summoner spell. Yeah, no, that was not
Yeah.
the biggest play.
Monkeys in training just, I mean, they must be stream sniping because they're doing exactly what I'm telling them. Fighting their way into a small gold advantage, abusing that Pantheon are really, really good play by them. But the 2v1 coming out in the top side, cross map play from Infinite 12, and Red has Ligma. Keeping this game very close. This is going to turn into a banger here soon.
Yeah, it's really nice to have two stomps translate over into a third game where everything seems to be at relative parity. Obviously, I would still say that there's a bit of advantage, especially once we move into the tight 5v5 team fights for the side of the Galactic Warriors, even though they're down the gold right now just due to the immense power of the Mordekaiser. We will see how this fight bot side turns out, though, as we see possibly Lemon dropping ultimate, but they were already so darn low, they will just be taken out by Thanatos as a W forward will also grab onto the Zyra and put the Pantheon on a rampage.
Yeah, and this is starting to look really, really good for Monkeys in training. The bot lane is just bleeding gold at this point. And we need to keep abusing that. Stay away from this Mordekaiser and Diego, because if they get too fed, this game is going to be over. But they're putting themselves in a really good opportunity to win this game.
Red team's turret has
Really
been
good position,
destroyed.
I should say.
Yeah, they need to get some gold onto the Garen, though. They need a frontliner to pair up with the Pantheon or Xin Zhao here for fights. As it currently stands, he's just kind of a walking around, not really able to put out a bunch of damage or tank a bunch of damage in return here. And that Mordekaiser, meanwhile, just becoming more and more of a raid boss. So we really haven't seen them in a full 5v5 scenario yet, but I guarantee you that when we do, it will be dynamite. This may, in fact, be our chance, though, as we see the dragon spawn in. The Warriors have control. It's going to grab those people over the wall right there. Mordekaiser's just going to sit there in that pixel bush, waiting for people to move through the choke point.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind, this is where Galactic Warriors has been strong. They fought really well all series.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pin from the Zyra going down onto the Garen and the Brand here, but it will not lead to a further engage. Both people are just trying to feel one another out. We really don't have much in the way of fight potential beyond that encore from Seraphine that's coming back up as we see finally the fight really start up in
Oh my
earnest.
God.
It hitting literally everyone. The shutdown will go down onto the Mordekaiser, but a lot of kills picked up for both sides. Thanatos staying alive, though, for quite a while now, as we see the Garen body being taken over by Infinite 12, who will finally pick up the kill against the Kaisa now. Gonna flash forward here, looking to grab one more against the Xin Zhao. It is jungler combat here, as everyone else has fallen. Incredible trades from either side, and I think that Infinite 12 probably has the advantage here, as he's gonna W forward and finally secure that last kill.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing just what they have been doing all series, which is just out team fighting you. You cannot team fight against this comp. You are just going to lose to this team. They are team fighting so well. The communication's so good. The Seraphine ultimates are just insane. So good.
And while I may only be able to see half the screen and everything is clouded up, I still can read very clearly that is a 4-0 and 4 Viego.
Yeah, and you should be extremely terrified of that. Again, on one item, we saw how much work he was doing last game.
Yeah, the kill's really going over to the right people here. I like how well Thanatos fared in that fight. They were able to position well and put a lot of damage down. And it looks like with that Man Immune build, they will in fact go for that AP-oriented style here in game number 3. Pretty decent choice, especially given the fact that we really only have Brand as the other AP threat, as we see the ultimate come out from the Pantheon. The Grand Starfall going to land down onto the Samira, and that W will finish them off as we see Zyra running for the hill and a double kill. Yeah, double kill getting picked up. This is really the power spike you're looking for on this champion with the Mordekaiser teleport into the area. I don't think this will end happily for our Greek boy, as in fact, Redhead will pick up that kill.
We're just seeing deaths everywhere. Pantheon getting taken to Brazil there, and the Garen dying topside trying to take that turret. Thanatos taking turret here. He could die. Oh, missed encore from the Seraphine.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate to see. That is one of your big engages and team fight setups gone for the time being. Luckily, the only thing up right now is going to be the Baron Nash, and I don't think that either team has the upper hand to the extent that we'll see such an early one grabbed. I think right now what you're really looking for is just a crucial mistake exploited by the other team in order to pick up some more damage onto these turrets and hopefully push forward for a inhibitor.
It was really well played by possibly 11 there, forcing outside and was taking splash.
Yeah, and we begin to see maybe the starts of a fight. We see the miss come out, and it looks like Viego will be initially repelled by Xinjiao Ultimate. He is going golden here, but that will still be the engage coming through. No encore to set this one up, though. Samira going to pop that R of their own here. But right now, it's all just kind of for zoning and poke. Viego and Samira both not able to crack the exterior of the Monkeys in Training.
Something really important to keep in mind there, Mordekaiser is sitting bot lane. Zinzao rotating to bot. They could look to just take the Baron Nashor here. Zinzao steps too far down to the bot lane.
Yeah, that pull forward from Baron right now, showing the individual power of this raid boss Mordekaiser, and we do in fact get that rotation of a lot of people from the red team over there towards that Baron. 3 pulled bot side now. This is the split push you're looking for, and he's still able to pick up a shutdown into the Kai'Sa.
So well played by Red, sacrificing his body for the team, and they're going to hop on Nash. We're looking for a miracle play from MIT now. The gold advantage not that big, but so much gold put onto this Viego here. I don't see any way that MIT can stop this Baron unless you win a smite.
Yeah, that will still be it going over to the Galactic Warriors here, and it looks like they're going to be able to back relatively unharassed here, excuse me. Zyra rotating over to the mid lane right now, and meanwhile, bot side, it looks like we will be seeing Monkeys in Training trying to translate this huge set of knowledge over like where the enemy team is into a tower, but even that will be rebuffed as we see this huge rotation coming through by the Galactic Warriors.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying this game. This has been a very good game so far. We see a lot of gold on this Pantheon going second item Ma. Second items coming out multiple places across the board. The Death Dance finish on the Viego, the Rylai's finish on the Mordekaiser. These team fights are going to be huge, and I really think this game can still go either way.
Yeah, it's really dependent upon what kind of push we'll actually be seeing coming through from the Galactic Warriors as they hold on to this Baron. But for the time being, they've just kind of rotated around the map and have been trying to feel out where Monkeys in Training are. A lot of setup here around the Dragon in turn will continue to delay them from really like steamrolling a lane, but at the same time, if we see a repeat of the last set of fights, that will be just more gold going over to the Mordekaiser and the Viego. We do have that encore set up, and that's always what I'm watching for here as the initial engage comes through. We see a big shield being dropped by the Seraphine here as the fight starts to... And there's the encore that we were talking about, but I think just the mob of Monkeys in Training is managing to turn this one around. A double kill being grabbed by that Garen in the top side. That is not what you want to see if you are a fan of the Galactic Warriors.
And it's so well played by Monkeys in Training, taking the fight with the numbers advantage, searching for that Viego and hunting him down with the Garen silence so he can't fight back. Even through the encore, they just pop the enemy jungler and leave. Really good 2 for 0 coming out from MIT there.
Yeah, and now we're really looking to see this Baron just kind of melt away. They aren't really able to get a whole lot off that. In fact, getting 2 kills is pretty disastrous over for the side of Galactic Warriors. Monkeys in Training going to start to push this advantage now. They obviously aren't able to siege super well, as we do see Seraphine and Zyro continuing to buff out these minions with the Baron. But after this falls away, it's going to be a real tough fight for both sides.
Yeah, and there's just so much work being done by this Pantheon. We even see the Garen getting himself back in a little bit with the QSS being purchased, fighting through that Mordekaiser Arlos fight and popping the Viego. Really, really well played. I think the main key to watch is going to be if this Pantheon continues to play this well, or if he's going to fall off once these ADCs get items.
Yeah, Pantheon is not a champion that is super well known for their its scaling threat here, but it is 7-2 right now. That is a lot of gold that may keep them afloat here. Really a kind of question for the ages, though, of whether or not we'll be able to see the outscale come through. At the same time, though, when I look at the itemization from the Samira and the fact that they remain at only 134 CS this deep into the game, I really think that they are kind of putting a stopper onto their ability to really turn this one around. So far, I think Monkeys in Training still have a little bit of the upper hand.
Yeah, and we're seeing the second item coming out for this Kai'Sa. Fully stacked Man Immune, Master's Tooth. This Kai'Sa is going to be very big very, very soon. And unless we can start cauterizing this wound, stopping the bleeding, playing well in these team fights like we saw, I think this game is extremely losable for Galactic Warriors here.
I just think that right now, my concern is that Mordekaiser hasn't really been the threat that we thought they could be, as Viego maybe a little bit caught out here, will immediately get W'd onto, and will have to Heartbreaker away. But yeah, as I was saying, I think Mordekaiser just hasn't really translated that early game lead into a whole lot of anything here. They are at 3 items, and one of those items is a Zhonya's, just to stay a little bit more safe.
Yeah, something I'm really missing from Mordekaiser here is where's the Demonic Embrace? Is we see a huge
big
3-man
coming through, yeah, but I think that once again that may be with Seraphine a little bit too far on the periphery of things, as we see Pantheon turn around and just get a big hop down onto the Samira, who will fall in turn here. No kills traded back over onto Monkeys in Training. So once again, a little bit of a squandered opportunity here from the red team.
I don't know if you were able to catch that, but I just watched Brand make an ADC go bye-bye. Disappeared like a magic trick using that R. Really, really good pick coming out from MIT there. On the Samira under turret.
Yeah, I thought it was Pantheon W. I can't tell at this point, but I'm calling it as I sees it. And what I sees is pretty messy.
Yeah, very...
Zyro, what are you doing there, buddy?
No. Very uncoordinated plays coming out from Galactic Warriors here. I don't know if we're tilted in comms or not communicating what we're doing, but they need to get it together and fast, or this game is going to be a loss before they can turn it around.
Yeah, the past 3 or so minutes really have just been a set of small victories for the side of Monkeys in Training here. This is still winnable by either team, don't get me wrong, but you are beginning to see these mistakes add up, and it's leading to a squandering of what was initially a pretty decent lead early, especially on that top end jungle for Galactic Warriors.
Yeah, and I think Galactic Warriors really needs to focus on playing these team fights well. They've proven they can, even with the Samira behind. They really need to play around keeping her alive, because her ult still does so much damage if they can get it off. And really layering their damage and CC together is going to be important leading up to this dragon fight.
Yeah, definitely. We see a death bush beginning to form here for Monkeys in Training, but that will be a double beat drop there to stop a further approach from their side. A lot of coalescing around this dragon up in about 15 seconds here. This will be Soul Point set up for Monkeys in Training if they are in fact able to grab this one.
Yeah, and Soul Point going to be extremely important. Like I said, they need to end the game before the enemy team gets items. We see the second item coming out for the Samira with the Collector. And Destance finish on the Viego. It looks like he's also building into maybe a stair stage as we see a Zyra just explode.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stargazer just way too far forward there. They know that one of the two choke points for the blue team to come through is through that spot by the Pixel Push, and them being the front line just does not work. Their Encore going to come down to hopefully turn this fight around, and we do see a lot of monkeys in training going on the run as Red Team will pick up the Dragon here. Oh man, me getting the kill down on possibly Lemon and stopping the damage from coming through with that ultimate being dropped means that Seraphine's just gonna have to kite this one out. Only Viego and the mid laner left alive for the Galactic Warriors.
Yeah, and that was kind of troll coming out for me, even though he made up for it. Coming around on the flank instead of fighting the Dragon. No smite available for monkeys in training, forces them off the Drake and causes them to actually lose it. Infinite 12 picking that up with his smite. Again, the fight just seems so disjointed. Stargazer walking up early, face checking a bush with no vision. Red has Ligma on the backside. They went from playing fights so well to just not communicating, and I don't know what's happening on their side.
Yeah, and that will be Baron Nashor picked up for monkeys in training. Sure, maybe we didn't see me pick up that dragon, but that is still another huge buff, this time going over to the blue team that could really be the defining factor in how the rest of this game plays out.
Yeah, and like we said, shutdowns even on the Garen now, coming back into the game. Playing so well from behind. I think really we cannot understate the work of this ADC Thanatos. Not the most glorious KDA, but still doing so much damage in these fights.
Glorious KDA, I don't know. They do go for Crown of the Shattered Queen here over Luden's Echo, which is a variation that I'm kind of happy to see, especially with the kind of burst damage we see from Stargazer and the like. But at the same time, I really think that given how strong the rest of MIT is shaping up to be, you could have gone for the Ludens here.
Yeah, I'm really seeing the 1-7 Zyra and the 2-9 Samira. I wouldn't be too worried about getting boosted here as we see how much damage that Void Seeker is going to do to the Samira. I would really focus on just being a pure damage output machine right now as we see them pushing down on the inhib turret.
Yeah, big siege there in the mid lane as we get that 1v1 bot side of the map. Garen, after being bullied so hard early, has in fact kind of clawed their way back into a pretty significant position. Maybe not in terms of damage dealt, but just in terms of damage tanked here. And that's what really matters in these siege scenarios where you have the Baron buff. We see him just kind of taking a whole lot of a beating from the Mordekaiser. All the while, his team is ravaging this mid lane. They're going to be able to grab this turret here. Encore coming down, but that will be a Pantheon W to meet it. Zyra ultimate coming out to hopefully get some damage back down onto the blue side, but Thanatos just popping off right now, grabbing that double kill. This will be the inhibitor falling, a triple kill in fact, and this could just spell the end of the game. Monkeys really doing a good job here. They are no longer in training. They have proven their worth.
So well played by Thanatos, and it looks like this series is going to go towards monkeys in training. Extremely well played, staying in this game, they were behind even a little bit, and just out rotating them, playing so well, getting their carries ahead. Really well played by monkeys in training.
Yeah, this is the Nexus falling now. Mordekaiser was not able to put up enough of a fight there. 2-1 for monkeys in training. Really solid display of skill right there. We doubted their draft, especially this time around. We doubted the Zinja, we doubted the Pantheon, but they have laid down the law and proven why they are where they are in this league.
Yeah, really well played. Again, even like Egyptian putting the team on his back in the early game, saying, don't worry guys, listen, I got this. I'll get us through. And he played it so well. No care about the world, about being behind, about Pantheon not scaling. Really well played by MIT. Go ahead. Sorry.
And so for an up oh sorry, just for an update here, this will mean that monkeys in training who already had the game record advantage will continue to push forward into this upper echelons of teams. GSG Iota and Big Duck Entourage are the two so far that remain undefeated, and it'll be interesting to see how their games played out tonight and where that will shift the standings. For the time being though, Galactic Warriors definitely not out of this one yet. There were no teams that were at 2-2 so far, so they will not fall into the lower category alongside the likes of Rars Rejects and Bobcat Esports. They have a little bit of a cushioning there at the fact that they started this at 3-1 and are now sitting at 3-2. So a lot still to be decided here in the Zero Gravity Gaming Iron, Bronze, and Silver League.
Yeah, and I would really like to see Galactic Warriors to keep team fighting as hard as they did tonight, at least in the future. And I think they have a really straight shot into at least the losers gauntlet to make it into the upper finals of playoffs and maybe even see them at Silver IBS Worlds down the future. I think with team fighting like that, they can definitely make it. They just need to keep their heads up after this night. Very tough loss, and I think they can definitely have a bright future.
It was
And
definitely a little bit hard fought there, but at the end of the day, both teams have proven their worth. I don't know about the worth of the double utility summoners on this support, especially during that last game, but I guess that we'll continue to see that argument be made here in Zero Gravity Gaming's league.
yeah, and with that, 3 amazing games played tonight. We are going to end the stream. We want to thank you all for coming out and watching ZGG IBS Week 5. We asked you to come out again next week. We do not know what the stream game is yet, but that will be posted in the server. And we will, again, just thank you guys all for coming out. You guys make this possible. And have a good night.